How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the LAIR. And today is our preview for the best of 3 deck that I'm going to be playing in tomorrow's episode. I call this one Heartless Epiphany. But before we get into it, I just want to say, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. It's free to you and helps us out so much. Feel free to drop me a comment, talk about strategy, deck ideas, misplays. I read the comments daily. And if you have any friends or family that are into Magic, please share the channel with them. One last thing I'd like to say, if you are going to be a new follower or subscriber on either my Twitch or YouTube channels, once you've done so, just reach out to me in the chat or the comments and say something like, hey, I just subscribed or followed, and I can respond to you with an in-game code that you can use in Arena to unlock a mystery gift from Wizards. So very excited to be able to offer that. Just make sure to reach out to me, or else I can't respond with a code. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Let's hop into this. So this is in the Sultai color. It's Sultai Flash, so this is a control deck. On the one drops, we have the full play set of Thoughtseize at sorcery speed. Target player reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card, and you lose 2 life. Onto the 2 drops, we have 3 copies of Essence Scatter at instant speed. Counter target creature spell. I have 2 copies of Jwari Disruption or Jwari Ruins. It can enter as a land tapped and produce blue mana, or at instant speed we can counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. I have 3 copies of Heartless Act at instant speed. We destroy target creature with no counters on it, and then remove up to 3 counters. We won't ever be using that. It's a removal spell. Running the full play set of Growth Spiral at instant speed, draw a card, and you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Onto the 3 drops, we're running the full play set of Whirlwind Denial at instant speed. For each spell and ability your opponents control, counter it unless its controller pays 4. Running 3 copies of Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. He's a 6/6, and we sacrifice him unless he escaped. And when he enters the battlefield or attacks, we gain 3 life and draw a card, and then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. And then we can escape him by paying his escape cost later on and exiling 5 other cards from our graveyard. Onto the 4 drops, we're running the full play set of Nightpack Ambusher. He's a 4/4 with Flash, and other wolves and werewolves you control get +1/+1, and at the beginning of your end step, if you didn't cast a spell this turn, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Running the full play set of Frilled Mystic. She's a 3/2 with Flash, and when she enters the battlefield, you may counter target spell. And then onto the top end, we have 2 copies of Sublime Epiphany. At instant speed, we choose 1 or more. We can counter target spell. We can counter target activated or triggered ability. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, or target player draws a card. And then finally, 2 copies of Torrential Gearhulk. He's a 5/6 with Flash, and when he enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. Before we talk about the strategy, let's just go over the lands real quick. We have 1 copy of Castle Vantress. We have 2 islands, 1 forest, 1 copy of Drowned Catacomb, the full playset of Watery Grave, the full playset of Overgrown Tomb, the full playset of Breeding Pool, the full playset of Hinterland Harbor, and the full playset of Zagoth Triome. So yeah, this deck is pretty straightforward. We're going to try and control the game and stabilize with Uro, draw cards, until we can take over the game with Nightpack Ambusher, and then slamming maybe like a Torrential Gearhulk and countering a spell that was probably one of their last cards in their hand, and maybe copying another creature like a Gearhulk or another Nightpack Ambusher that we have already on the board. But yeah, that's the basic strategy. Let me go over the sideboard, since we are going to be playing best of 3 in tomorrow's episode. I'm running the full play set of Fatal Push at instant speed. Destroy target creature if it has a converted mana cost 2 or less, and destroy that creature if it has a converted mana cost 4 or less instead if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn. So we can combo that with our Uro, or possibly if they kill or remove or bounce one of our other creatures, can end up utilizing the other side of this Fatal Push. But this is going to be for more of the aggressive decks where we need more single target removal, and just countering 1 creature is not going to be enough. We're running 2 copies of Grafdigger's Cage. It's an artifact, and creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. So obviously this does not work with Uro, but we would sub this out, maybe 1 less, and maybe something else on the top end. If we're playing like a Sacrifice deck, Rakdos Sacrifice, or any of the popular reanimation decks that are running around. I would even slam this on goblins so they can't mux us. So yeah, very powerful card. Definitely a great card to include in the sideboard. I have 2 copies of Disdainful Stroke at instant speed. Counter target spell with converted mana cost 4 or greater. And this just being so low to the ground, it can be very powerful when we're expecting you to have slower counter spells. Now you're coming in with the quicker ones, can really shock the opponent. Running 2 copies of Negate at instant speed, counter target non-creature spell. Once again, if we're playing a more control-y deck, obviously sub out the Essence Scatters, drop in the Negates. We have 2 copies of Noxious Grasp at instant speed, destroy target creature or planeswalker that's green or white, and we gain 1 life. So helps us stabilize slightly with the 1 in lifelink gain, but the ability to take out a creature or planeswalker that's green or white at instant speed for 2 is just obnoxious. So definitely needs to be included in the sideboard for sure. And then finally, three copies of Mystical Dispute at instant speed. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a blue spell, and counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. So once again, if we're playing like a mono blue or something where we really need to stop them at key points, this becomes a one drop counter spell that they have to pay 3. So having this in our opening hand would be brutal. But that's what that's in there for. So yeah, this is the deck that I'm going to be playing tomorrow. Once again, Heartless Epiphany for best of 3 and historic. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, if you're going to be new to the channel, please like and subscribe. It's free to you and helps us out so much. Feel free to drop me a comment, talk about strategy, deck ideas, misplays. I read the comments daily. And if you have any friends or family that are into Magic, please share the channel with them. Also, don't forget, if you're going to be new to the channel, either following or subscribing on my Twitch or YouTube channels. Once you've done so, just reach out to me in the chat or the comments and say something like, hey, I just subscribed or followed, and I can respond to you with an in-game code that you can use in Arena to unlock a mystery gift from Wizards. So very excited to be able to offer that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.